Hi, Milana.
Hi.
We were just chatting about before. I love this so much. So right before we hit record, it's so wild. So Milana is a private client who also was inside of Fempire and then is officially joining Fempire for another 6 months today. You are actually my first podcast recording of the year. And I just love the synchronicity of you coming into my world for another 6 months after our private together, you being the first episode of the year. And then also, like coming onto the show, which I'm sure, is like exciting for you too, like all at the same time. I love it.
I feel honored. This is literally the best.
So good. So, Milana, before we get started, can you please share just kind of like, well, first, let's start with, do you know your sun, moon, and rising? My women like to we're into astrology, human design, where we know it, those kind of things. If you know anything kind of like about your human design, that would be fab. And then we'll dive into getting to know you a little bit better.
Okay, amazing. Yes, so my sun is in Aquarius and my rising is in Aries and my moon is in Virgo.
Ooh, so
I think I got that right. I'm pretty sure about that. It's definitely those three.
And you're a generator, right?
And I'm a generator. Yep, a 6-2 generator. What else can I tell you? That's probably the main ones that I'm like aware of.
And then we know I always think it's so interesting. Well, I'm a generator too. But that you said your rising is Aries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And isn't that interesting? And then my sun is Aries. So
I feel like that's like one of our like soul connections. I truly feel that.
Oh my gosh. And on the vibe of soul connections, it is so funny. So one of my things always is saying how my close proximity clients always feel like soul family. And of course, there's the alignment on the client side. When they come in, there's alignment on my side. Like, yes, it's going to be juicy, but you don't really know what it's going to be like. And I remember very early when you came into my world, I had a dream about you and I was like, boom, there it is.
I remember that. Yeah.
It was so funny. I can't remember the full dream now, but basically, like, we were outside and I was completely naked, and you were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "It's totally fine."
I remember that. And I remember you telling me about that. You're like, listen, I dreamt about you and I was completely naked. I was like, oh my God, I love this. Fuck yes.
Like, talk about
I didn't think we'd even started yet.
I was like, here we go. Stepping up, being seen in full power, and not worried about it is the journey. So can you please tell us as well, like what you do and about your business? And I would also love to hear kind of like where you came from, because I don't even know this part actually before your business, and kind of like what led you here.
Oh, okay. So right now I am a business coach and I really lead my business in this perspective of mixing strategy and energetics. And so I help women scale to the the multiple six-figure mark. And we do it without all of those kind of rules that like you learn when you start your business of like the things you have to do. And that's really like what my passion is right now and what I love doing. But before all of this, so kind of rewinding back 3 years, I was someone that was sitting in a little corporate cubicle. Well, it was actually an office, but still like it was freaking tiny. And I was a corporate lawyer working like all day, all night, like no life outside of law. And I thought that's how my entire life would go. Like I truly thought that I would be a lawyer forever. Not that I wanted to, but it was just like I felt so stuck. Like, well, what else am I going to do? Like I went to law school, I studied, like, am I going to throw all of this away? And there was this nagging feeling always that like, this isn't what I'm meant to be doing. This isn't what I'm meant to be doing. Like, I can't wake up at 60 and look around and be like, oh my God, I've just spent my entire life like working 12-hour days in this like law firm where I'm not even enjoying it. I don't even love it. This isn't what I'm meant to be doing. And so when I went on maternity leave with my first son, it was like my mission to figure out what I should be doing, where I should like head in life. Like I knew it wasn't going to be law. And that's when I found coaching. And so like my business literally started when my son was like 3 weeks old, like newborn, and I was on maternity leave, and I was like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to make it. And that was like the start to my journey in the online space.
And I love this because I feel like women choose to be moms from a place of joy. Obviously, our families bring us so much joy. And then as soon as the kid hits the planet, the child becomes a limitation around like why we can't have this, why we can't have that. And I'm like, is that really how we want to be thinking about our families? Or like, oh, it's going to be so hard and da 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 da. And I'm like, and even if it wasn't kids, you like, if you want to have that story, you will come up with something. And I'd love to hear like how you, since you said you started your business when your firstborn was 3 weeks old, which most women would be like, oh my gosh, absolutely hell no. Like how you walked yourself into that without it turning it into just this huge, oh my God, it's impossible, I can't do it.
Yeah, I love that you bring this up because I have such a different view to, I would say, like most of society, and definitely aligns with what you've just said, in that I would never see my kids as a limitation, and I think that like that is a big problem in how we are just taught to think by society in general a lot of the times, that like you are now limited because you're a mom, and I just don't see that at all, and I've never allowed that belief to take hold in me. And so even when I was starting my business and I had zero evidence that it would work, zero evidence that like I would even figure it out, that I would even make like $1, it was never like, oh well, it's going to be even harder because I have a newborn. I was just like, fuck yes, I have a newborn, and we're going to like really maximize our time and figure it out. And like, no doubt it's hard. No doubt there was moments that it's like you're juggling a lot, but it never crossed my mind to think that I was limited, or that I had less time than someone else, or that somehow like I was going to struggle more because I was a mother. It just wasn't a belief that I was willing to believe. And so I've never had any of my actions in business being informed by the fact that I have kids. Like when I had one, or like at the beginning of last year, I had a second, and it just wasn't a limitation. So I've never stopped myself from investing in myself. Like straight after I had my son, my firstborn, when I was literally making no money, I was maternity leave, like not earning, I like invested in a program straight away. So it was like a $3,000 course so that I could like learn online business. And like, I've just always been of the mentality that like, nothing is going to limit me. And so like, I'm going to figure it out. And especially with kids, like I really truly think that when you have kids, you become so much more efficient. You can become so much better at managing your business, at managing like your emotions as well, which is like always relevant to business. And it's just like, it gets to be a part of your life that's overflow without a limitation. And I know that's something you talk about in every area. And I think it 100% applies with children as well.
And I love this because even if it's not kids, it'll be something. It's like the people who think they can't have their business because of their job, can't have the business because we're moving, can't have the business because some emotional thing happened just in your life. It's like it can be literally, if you want to come up with something, you will come up with anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, you're just substituting one thing. And I think the thing is that kids is such an easy target for people to use as an excuse, because like, yeah, like you are genuinely fucking tired a lot of the time, like cool. But like, you can find that excuse for anything, like, oh, I've worked all day, or this has happened, or that is that. So like, yeah, you're 100% right. And it's just like, it's a target that people pick as an excuse because it's so normalized. And I think our culture normalizes this, like, oh, you're a mom and like life's so hard, and like everything sucks, and you have to put your dreams on hold, which like is absolutely not true.
Yeah. Well, basically the program you receive is you're a woman, therefore you're burdened.
Yeah.
It's like,
And if you bring children in, like they're going to be even more of a burden because now
they're all your responsibility, exclusively you.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though there was someone else involved in the making of them.
Yeah.
Like, where is he?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's so wild because I feel like the conditioning for women is like your sole purpose in life is to get married and have children. But then as soon as you do, it's like, and this is your full-time job and this is your duty and it's going to suck the life out of you. But this is what you're on the planet for. Like literally, as soon as you do it, it flips and it's like, oh, now you can't have everything anymore. But that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, like you get sold the idea that like this is what you should do, but then when you do it, and like when you become a mom, just like the talk in mom circles, which is sounds hilarious. Even today, I'm like, wait, I'm a mom. Like there's children that depend on me. Like what? Like who's cooking dinner? Is it me? Shit. But like it's very like dreary. It's very like gloomy. Everything is like, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. And I just don't think we have to let that be the case at all. Like we can do so much freaking wild stuff. And whether we have kids or not, like it should just not be a factor. Like it's just like an added bonus to your life if that's how you want to live your life. And like it just shouldn't be a consideration in whether or not you're going to achieve the thing that you want to do.
I completely agree. And whenever we use something in our life as a reason why we're not doing the thing, it is truly to protect yourself from actually looking at you, at the part of you that's actually not doing the thing, because you don't want to face that discomfort of like, oh, wow, I'm not actually doing what I said I was here for. I'm not actually doing what I want to do. It's way easier to complain about your children or your job or your ex-husband or your divorce or what your breakup or whatever it is than to look at the part of you that actually doesn't show up for yourself.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. 100% true. 100% true. And like, just for me, I just feel like I said before, like that was just never an option. It was never going to be that like I was going to place blame on something external for the result that I wasn't getting or the things that I wasn't doing. And so it was always like, is this external to my control? Like, yeah, having children, the fact they exist is external. Like I can't change that. So like that can't be a source of complaint or a source of anything other than like creation of pure joy. And so every single thing that like that's external to me, I'm never going to blame that for the lack of results. Like I'm always going to look inside and be like, well, what is it that I'm lacking in? What is it that I'm not doing? Where is it that I'm not being congruent in my life?
And this is why we are here today to talk about you having your very first back-to-back 6-figure months in sales working together. Like I'm just like, oh, I can like barely get it out of my mouth. Because I'm so happy and I'm so happy. It's so good. And this acceleration is exactly what I'm here for. And I love it because then I want to talk about what was going on in your life and business with money, et cetera. Because I feel like we uncovered and like moved through some really potent things inside of our experience together. But what was so cool is you came in, I had like a 3-month private offer. You and I had never DM'd. You had never been in a masterclass. You had never done any of my, programs. You had never been in a single offer in my world. And you went straight to private. Yeah. So and I'm always like, when a woman makes a move like that, like some shit is getting ready to pop off. Like I know this. And so can you share a little bit about that and how you were just like, boom, I'm like, I'd never seen your name in my life. I'd never even seen a like on my feed, anything in my stories.
Wouldn't have.
Zero, nothing. Yeah. You're like, I'm so busy living my life. I don't have time to like people's posts.
Well, no, it was because I just found you. I think I think I have shared this with you before, but I just found you, and it might have been like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks max before I jumped into private that I found you. And it was like through a podcast, like you were on someone's podcast, and I can't for the life of me remember who, but I think it was like I'd searched something in the podcast feed and you came up, and I was like, okay, like vibing out. I'm like, oh my God, who is this person? Like I need her in my life. And then I found you on Instagram and I followed you. But like I'm that kind of person that like you'll never see me like, comment, interact. Like, I'm just like, yep, I'm in. Like, I'm just a very like, when I know, I know. And this is me following my sacral, the generator in me, like really being tapped into my authority. And like the more I practice that, the more that I notice how good life gets to be. And this is such a good example because when you you were promoting the one-on-one, I was like, yeah, I need to be in this. And I think I sat on it for like a day. And I was like, yeah, like, what am I doing? Like, I need to be in this. And I just messaged you and I was like, get me in.
So
And
good.
that was like the beginning.
I'm so annoyed. Sorry, my doorbell's ringing. Hold on, he keeps ringing
Okay,
it, and I
okay.
don't want him to keep doing that. Hold on one sec.
Do you need me to repeat that?
Oh no, we're good.
Okay.
I stopped you like when I knew I could follow back up. Okay. So I love this because I'm very much the same way. And regardless of whether you're a generator or not, it's literally just following your intuition and like following the pull. Like I will just, I see the person. I have like literally hired people because I saw them. I was like checking out their social media. Maybe I heard them on a podcast, whatever. I'm like, boom, that's it. Let's go. And it's literally like that straightforward for me too. And I'm also someone who grows fast and receives fast. And there's just so much to be said for not having all of this time between feeling the feeling and making the move. And so many people like just come up with so many, like immediately move into overthinking, asking everybody they know, being like, oh, well, I'm in one container. I shouldn't do this soon. Da, 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 da. And there's just like so many reasons for not just like making the move. And then they're like, where are my results? And I'm like, again, like you were saying earlier, you need to look at yourself, And so I'm sure, obviously, because you were very committed to mentorship, that when you found me, you were already in other containers.
Yeah, I actually forgot to mention that because like when I found you, I was in a container. It was like like a year-long kind of like program membership. And then I was also already invested in another mastermind that was starting like in a couple of months, and it would overlap with our time together. And I mean, it just didn't even cross my mind to be like, oh, I mean, all of these things, or maybe for a split second, I might have been like, well, I'm in these things, but I was like, it doesn't fucking matter because there is this person that I want to learn from. I want to be in her energy. I want to know how she thinks, like how she runs her business, because the way she talks about things, what she's saying, like I'm feeling a resonance. And so like, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to jump in. It's going to happen however it happens. And so like, that was it. There was no like, oh, a million excuses. And I agree. Like people just, they'll come up with any excuse why they shouldn't move. And I think, like, I sit here and I think we wouldn't be having a conversation about my multiple 6-figure months if I had overthought this. If I was like, oh, I'll wait until like I finish the mastermind, I finish this and I finish that, and then I'll invest, like we wouldn't be here.
No, because you don't get here. The type of people who get here, and honestly, we've just touched the beginning. The type of people who get here are not people who wait for anything. We don't look for logic to explain why we should or should not be doing things. We just move.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
I feel like that's
exactly.
something that a lot of people hear, and they hear about it on the internet all the time because every successful person talks about it and they still don't do it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that was also even part of inside our coaching. Like, if you don't mind me going there for a second, is that like
Yeah.
something that you really showed me and that I was really able to anchor in is the fact that like logic has sure like a place, but it is like not the guiding star for leading a successful business. And so like making a logical moves is just a part of it. And I think when I was able to start doing that in all areas, and one of the things being like, I felt the pull that I needed to be in your world longer. And this was maybe a month in after we started our container. And for a minute there, I was like starting to overthink it, like, oh, but like, I don't know, maybe I should wait till this is like ended, blah, 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 like all these stupid thoughts. And I think like just you being able to, not in that sense, like we never talked about me extending. It was like about different things that we talked about making logical moves. But in my head, I was like, yeah, like I need to extend with Jocelyn. And so me extending for 6 months with you straight away was just like such a catalyst for growth internally that translated to external growth, because I like broke through this barrier of like always making logical sense of things. And this truly felt like a logical, like, fuck yes, we're doing it.
And I love this too, because, well, one, I want to come to, because we had a lot of conversations around kind of like short-term results, short-term money, short-term X, Y, everything. Not everything. Obviously, your marriage is not short-term. I don't mean everything in your life, but a lot of people operate this way. And I want to get into that. But before I go there, because I think this is huge, what you just shared too. And I've done that too. I'm like, boom, got a taste. Let's extend. Like my investments now are legit a year. Like last year was my first time investing straight. I'd invested in a mastermind for 6 months. Within the first few months, I was like, boom, yep, in for another 6. We're doing a year. This year, the mastermind I'm invested for 6 months. I invested straight out into 6 months of private coaching. And I'm probably extending for a year. Like I literally make 6 to 12 month investments exclusively, and then also backed by programs for learning like specific things. And also I just like the content in the background of my life and anchoring specific frequencies. It's not like one or the other. It's like you got to do both, honestly. But like having that long-term mentorship in the background, like I know we all hear about it on the internet all the time, but you're hearing about it because it's real. Like it's not, because it's one thing to do something one time. It's another thing to sustain it with ease and get to the next level and not be starting over and like, oh my God, someone else needs to get to know me. They need to get to know my business. They need to get to know my patterns. And it's like this starting over energy is such a fucking cock block to big, long-term sustainable success. But before we go there, because I want to go deep on that, can you share about where you were in your life with business, with money, etc., like before you came into my world at all?
Yeah. So before I came in, I'd kind of anchored in, and this is business wise, I'd anchored in this, I guess, baseline of like I would say like 30-ish K months as like my average. And I'd done a few 50K months and like some 40K months here and there. But like if I'd kind of averaged it all out, it might have been like around the 30K mark. And that was amazing. Like I was super fucking proud of myself. It was great and it was going well. But there was always this like, and I talked to you about this, of this energy of like starting over each month. Like it was always like, I'm starting over. And so it never felt very sustainable, even though like energetically I felt like I could sustain it, but like on paper, like every month it wasn't at zero, of course, but there wasn't like a ton of recurring revenue. It just didn't feel like fully stabilized. And so like it was
for reoccurring income.
yeah. And that's what I loved about you, because you're like, I love the fact that you start your month with like so much recurring revenue. And I'm like, that is so much hotter to me than someone that's like, I make 300K a month, but like every month I'm starting at like 0 or 10K or whatever, you know? And so like, that was definitely something that drew me into your world, because I love that mentality of like the fact that you focus on that. And I wanted that for myself. And I also just wanted more, even more ease than what I was feeling in my business, because even though I was never someone that worked a lot, so like I never came in for ease because I needed to work less. Like I would say I always worked maybe 4 hours a day, even from the day that I started my business. But like then again, I was like a mom, so like I didn't really have many options. So that's just how I built my business. But there was this like ease that you had about money and about business that was just so infectious. And it really like came through all your content every time you spoke. And it was just this another level that I had not accessed. And so I was like, I need some of that. I need more of that. And I said to you when I came in, I was like, yeah, I really want to anchor in like 70 to 100K months. And here we are now.
I'm like, cool, let's go.
Yeah, you're like, yep, cool, we'll do that. I was like,
we're doing it. I love this. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I love too that you've always been like, yeah, I don't need to work around the clock, because of course I've gone through seasons where things are busier. And like, it's interesting because my first year in business was like our first COVID year. So like, we were also like locked in the house pretty much. So it was a very interesting time, but I've always been the same way where I'm like, I learned my lesson in the corporate world. I'm not carrying that shit over into my business. Are you kidding me? I'm going to do exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And it's the reason most people come to me. Well, all my clients are women, but there's like that just desire for us doing life the feminine way and also receiving a lot and not having that be so mysterious. It's like, well, how do we actually get there? And I love what you said too, because so it's funny because I didn't even realize how good before I was at sustainable money. Like, to me, I just couldn't even imagine a world where my income was a roller coaster. I had never even considered that. And then when I started coaching people and just like being on the internet more as a coach, because when I was first started, I wasn't even paying attention to coaches. I was just like doing my thing. I was like, oh, people's roller coaster income is a real thing. Wow. Like, what is this? Like, that was never an available option for me. And I realized I really needed to talk about sustainability because I was creating it without being told, without being mentored around it. Like, that's just what I was doing, you know? Of course, I
Yeah.
have mentorship and I'm always mentored around things, but the sustainability piece and the stabilized income, that was there with me from day one. This isn't something someone had to teach me how to do, you know? I was
Mm.
like, this is a business. Businesses make money. Why the hell would my income ever be drastically dropping? Like, why? Do you know what I like? It just made no like sense to
Which
me.
is not how most people think. Like, that's not how most people come into business. So this is why, like, it's so unique the way you approach this.
And so I was always like stable, stable, stable. And then off stability, we feel ease. And then off of ease, we are easily able to quantum leap again because it doesn't feel like a big deal. You know, we're not like, it's not like more pressure, more work, more this, more that. Or like, it's funny because, you know, people sort of talk about, so for me, I've never wanted to be the person who, I don't know, had 100K month just because a client paying 60K pay in full came through the door. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's
Yes.
not going
Yeah.
to happen every month. I mean, you will get to a place in your business where it happens more regularly, but literally the only people that I know who that's happening regularly for are already at like the $500,000 a month mark. It takes a while for that to be regular. So why do we want to wait for like the one magic person in the audience? Why wouldn't we build a business that is naturally aligned to that in our reoccurring income? Like, I like, even for this past year, I remember like, so my goal this year was stabilizing 6-figure cash months, like back in 2022. Now we're moving into multiple six. But I was like, cool. Well, how fun would it be if 50K of that was reoccurring income? So it's like, cool, that's already baked in. And then I'm just adding another 50K. Like, that's easy. You know, I knew I could do that. Like, that was no big deal. And then it was interesting because I remember I had this like 118 cash month. I think it was in August, and 60K of it was reoccurring income. I was like, holy fuck. Like, I hadn't even realized. And then things just continue to build and continue to build and continue to build. And my numbers were just getting bigger and bigger, like closing out the end of the year with my biggest month that I've ever had in my business, which was 133K cash. I didn't do my sales number for December, but in November, my sales number was 178K. I was like, all right, we're on to something, you know? And it's like, this is like exactly the frequency that you came in on, that you were like, let's, you know, leap into that. Like, this is real. And so sometimes it's funny because it's like we make illogical moves, but then we bring a level of logic to how we're doing business. But do you know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, I want to see that like logically this can stack, but also like I see that and I'm gonna like turn to magic. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna vibe out. And I feel like
Yeah.
this is something you've been so good at. Like, you are not the person in Voxer who's asking me 6,000 questions about, you know, your offers, when you should launch them. In fact, I don't think you've asked me about a couple offers, but mostly we talk. You're also very good at strategy and you're very good at marketing and branding, like fucking rock solid. But like, we mostly talk about energetics.
Yeah.
And then when
Yeah.
it's the how-to stuff, it's within the context of kind of like new things that are anchoring in your business that are going to drive your recurring income. But you're not like, oh my God, Jocelyn, please review my whole product suite, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And like, you're so good at the strategy as well as the energetics. And I think in the beginning, we had like one or two conversations around like that anchoring in that like strategic logical piece of like how to create the recurring income, like what to actually like focus on and do. And I was kind of like asking you like, what are your focuses and what are you looking at? And you kind of looked at like what I'm doing and you kind of gave me some tweaks and things to think about.
And it's super important to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discredit that. Like, you actually do have to learn how to do this. This is a
Yeah,
very
and
real
you
thing.
do that. Like, you absolutely do that because like you weren't just like, oh, don't fucking worry about it. It'll just happen. Like, just focus on the energy. Like, you did that. But like what people I don't think realize is that it's a small piece. Like, it is not, we were not having a conversation about that every day. Like, you weren't reviewing. I say this all the time. Like, I don't fucking ask my mentors to review my sales pages or to like look at my copy for every like single thing that I write or to like look at my product suite like 100,000 times. Like, it's such a small conversation that if it needs to be had, like it's ironed out and that's it. But that wasn't the biggest piece, and it was absolutely important because like without it, it probably like I would have felt a bit shaky. But once that was stabilized, the energetics that you brought in and that you were really able to like, that I was just able to plug in. Like, I don't understand like how, I don't think people understand how valuable it is to be able to be in the energy of someone doing like 6-figure months with the ease that they're doing it, and to be able to ask them questions like, how are you thinking about this thing, or like what's the energy you hold when this happens, or what's the frequency that you plug into when you're moving from this to this. Like that is so invaluable, and me being able to do that with you was just like, and this is part of just that like hell yes client coach kind of connection. But like when you would respond with something in Voxer, like I soaked that shit in. I was like, fuck, like I would soak it in. And I didn't usually need to follow up with like a lot of stuff because I was just like, yep, that's what Jocelyn said. And like, it was locked in. I'm like, this is the truth. And now I live my life from this. Like what you said is the standard that now I operate my business and life from. And I just saw things shift so fast from just doing that.
And I really want to give you credit for this because I'm always talking about not looping. Like, I am the person too, where it's like I plug in, I ask the question, you vibe out, I'm good. It's integrated. I get it. It's landed. Like, I don't just move fast and receiving. I move fast everywhere, like through my integration, through the portals I walk through all of it. I have just chosen to move fast. And I feel like this is a place where you came in really as a mirror for that. I don't think you've ever asked me the same question twice.
That's credit. That's good.
That's fucking credit. You're like, that's street cred. And it's not wrong. It is not wrong if someone does, but I'm talking about someone who's stepping into 6-figure months. Like, I seriously do not think you've asked me the same question twice. I really can't remember us having continuous conversations on you looping on anything. I would answer you back. And like, I vibe out. I am not the person who, like, if there's something to go deep on, I do not send you a 1-minute Voxer chat. Like, I'm going to go there.
Fuck no.
Yeah, I fucking go there. It's like a mini podcast episode.
Yeah, it is like, that's what I mean. Like, I plug into it and I'm like, I don't need anything else. This is so deep already.
And so also, right, it's on, as mentors, it's our responsibility too. I'm not just like, oh, whatever, and then expect the client to be like, okay, cool, integrated, done, da 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 da. I'm showing up for my part. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like, you were just so good at, and have been so good at hearing all of it. And you come into, I'm going to give you so much credit for this. Like, you come into the chat, into our conversations, like, even if something is bothering you, you come in regulated. And because you come in regulated, you come in coachable.
Yeah.
And so you're able to hear what I say and actually receive it, because you weren't coming in dysregulated, only hearing a quarter of what I said and then asking me the same question in a different way 4 more times because you didn't actually like take the time to regulate beforehand. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're able to move fast because you're actually taking accountability for yourself as well.
I feel like this is like a $10,000 conversation right now for someone, because I truly think that is so big and important in actually getting value out of the coaching that you're signing up for. Because I think people sign up for coaching a lot of the times, and because they're in a constantly dysregulated state, they're not able to receive the coaching that is being given, even if it is like world class. And then they turn around, they're like, oh, this didn't work, or I didn't get anything out of this, or like whatever. And it's actually because you're not integrating the coaching. You're not like actually trusting your coach with what they're saying. You're not opening yourself up to receive that message right now. And so because you're in this dysregulated state all the time, it's like no matter what is being said to you, you just loop like continually. You just come back with the same question the next day and the next day and the next day, and you don't actually get anywhere. And then people turn around and they blame the coach. They're like, oh, they didn't do their job, they didn't like teach me anything. But actually, like, there is a big and sure, there is a part of like responsibility with us as coaches to, you know, like do our part. But there is such a big thing to be said about how coachable you are in a container, especially when you're going into like close proximity with someone. Like, I'm not going to pay you tens of thousands of dollars and just like not do what you say, or like not take in what you say and not follow through with what you say, even especially the uncomfortable parts, like the parts where you call out patterns that I'm like immediately go into resistance. I'm like, no, that's not me. But then like I have to sit with it and be like, no, that's totally fucking me. And like, instead of just sitting in that resistance and trying to find loopholes of how I'm going to like not have to look at this part of me that I want to look at, actually been coming in from the beginning, open to seeing the things that I might not want to see, but being like, I know it's for my highest good. And I don't think people do that enough. And I think that like, if someone can take something away from this conversation, this is like a big part to take away with how you come into coaching containers.
I mean, it's the truth, because it's like, for me, I think about this all the time. Like, the way that you guys see me on the internet is the exact way I'm showing up in coaching. Like, what I talk about on the internet is not behind the scenes my biggest problem. You know what I mean? Like, it's really not.
100%.
Like, the way that I communicate on the internet, I also am like that with my mentors. They get 1 to 2 minute messages from me. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. This is it. This is my question. Like, what's the vibe? Like, legitimately. So, you know, I feel like too, and of course, some things are more tender and this, that, and the other, but I don't just like feel a feeling and then be like, oh, and like spill, you know, I'm like, all right, hold on. Do you know? And I do think there's this level of like, if you can't even walk yourself through the smallest moment of scarcity in order to anchor with the real question, even if you don't know the real issue behind the question, because obviously mentorship, then what are you doing coaching people?
Yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely.
Like, if you can't even coach yourself at all, I mean, that's a real question. And like, not, you know, and it's obviously like mentorship is so required, but you know what I'm talking about. Don't you have moments through the day that I don't hear about where you're just like, all right, cool. Actually, Milana, I'm not going there. Goodbye. You know?
No, totally. I mean, like, there is
I
so many
do. I
things
have stuff where I'm like,
yeah.
Jocelyn, we're not even entertaining that. Moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if I just went to you with every little thing that came up, like, fuck, like I would exhaust myself, you know? So like, absolutely not. And the things that I did come with you, like, I even remember a couple of times there was things that would happen and I would have like a freak out, like something would really annoy me or something would happen. And I would like, the thought is like, okay, like, let's get Jocelyn's perspective on this. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not going into Voxer in this like heightened like emotional state. Like, I'm not going to get anything out of it. Like, let me sit and breathe with this, let me sit on it, and like then I'll go in if I need to. And like literally every time, like, you wouldn't have even seen this because I didn't even come in, because like it would resolve itself the situation would resolve itself. And I'm like, well, I'm fucking glad that I sat on that, because like I would have just been like venting and emotionally dumping, and that's not the vibe. Like I do not want my container that I'm like in with Jocelyn to be like this emotional dumping, like this happened and like I'm just like so blah blah. And I'm not saying that in the sense of like, if something was truly to happen that I needed support, I would have of course like gone to you and like been, so I know you would always be there, but like I didn't want to bring the energy of just randomly emotionally dumping for every little thing, because like things come up all the time in business.
They
And like you
really
said,
do. You could,
they
if you
do.
want to, you can come up with something every day because we are
Literally.
dealing with so many people.
Yeah. And we hold so much. And like, so if like I just view you as a dumping ground for like all the little emotions that come up, like how is that like creating a high frequency in the mentorship? Like it's not. And so I'm always like mindful around like, well, what is, not like on just the coach, but like what's my responsibility to hold the energy of this like space that I'm co-creating. And like, you know, it's also on me. So if I'm just going to come in and have a breakdown every day around like the tiniest little things, like, oh, this one person said they would pay and they didn't, and like, what do I do? Like, that's just, you know, how am I going to ever rise to a higher level if that's my level of problem, if that's a frequency that I'm bringing in?
Well, and this is what I was about to say. You choose the level of problem that you're willing to have. And you know what I mean? And so the level of problem you're willing to have. So when you catch yourself, you know, with what you've brought to me, where you're like, okay, this is not a 6-figure a month problem. You weren't using those words, but it was like the things you would bring to me. And so much, it's like, it's almost like you internally already knew that. And so when I would share back with you my transmission around it, whatever it is that we were talking about, it was like you would know that this is something that you weren't really willing to carry forward with you. Like you were
Yeah.
just like, this is just not the fucking vibe. You weren't coming in being like, I want to talk about this, basically the vibe of beating a dead horse and having someone feel sorry for me and coddle me and da-da-da. You were like, this isn't the frequency. We are moving through this right now. And you weren't just saying that. And you didn't even use those words, but in your energy, it's like you weren't just saying that, you meant it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And I definitely like came in very intentional with like the things that you mentor me on. Like I'm going to take that to heart, as in like that's how I'm going to absorb that energy, and that's how I'll move forward. And I'm not available for like going back and forth 1,000 times, like you having to convince me that the thing you're telling me is the truth. Do you know what I
Oh,
mean?
girl, mic drop. Yeah. Mic drop. And this is why a huge part of the reason why you're getting the results that you're receiving, and that you have the ease and that your business that you have, because you actually hold your, and a lot of people don't think about the standard that they hold themselves to in mentorship. And this has nothing to do with like, I don't want anyone to confuse this with like, oh my God, I can't ask questions. I need to be quiet. It has nothing to do with that. I ask questions all the time. Like I could legit ask a question probably almost every day, but I come from an empowered place with my questions, and I come from a pretty regulated place with my questions, and things still happen. Like if someone pops into my Voxer chat crying legit, like I'm there, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like, that's very different than like whining about your business 7 days a week.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And like, yeah, I want to like totally like back that up, that like it's not about not asking questions, it's about the place you're coming from when you're asking questions, and the willingness to receive the answer and like trust the answer and be guided by the answer, instead of like coming in from, when you're coming in from the energy of like, well, I'm just like nothing's working and I'm annoyed and blah blah, you're not even willing to receive the answer, and then you know you loop or you just like check out, and then like nothing happens. And I wasn't available for that in our container. So I definitely feel like that was such a like a big piece to me, be able to receive your mentorship as well. And obviously like everything you said was like so world class and just landed every day. I was just like, oh my God, like literally just having mind blow moments every single day.
Oh, I love that. You would always say that. I'm like, oh my God, she's the best.
So good.
I love this. And, because the vibe is, it's like, we have to check ourselves. It's like, are we just coming into mentorship to hear that everything's going to be okay and for soothing? Or are we actually plugging in for growth? And some soothing is like, we're human. We have hearts. We have feelings. I totally get it. We love to hear that someone's been through something that we've walked through as well. Like, all that valid. But like, that should not be the leading frequency. Like, why are you going to someone who makes 7 figures, etc., just to be soothed? Like, you know what I mean? If that's all you're looking for,
Absolutely.
you can be soothed in therapy. But like, so and pay what, $100 an hour. It's like, if
Yeah.
you like come in because you actually want growth. And sometimes people are doing this on a very subconscious level. It's not conscious. No one's going like, oh yeah, I'm signing up for this just to be soothed. But it's just like, I think that sometimes people have varying degrees of willingness to like fully look at themselves and fully take ownership over the state of their business, the state of their money, their state of their everything. And wherever we're not willing to do that is a place where we'd rather be soothed than see the opportunity for self-responsibility, self-honesty, and growth.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's so scary to actually allow yourself to be seen and be vulnerable in a container where you're not actually just going to be soothed, but you're going to be expanded. And at the same time, that's where the growth happens. And so you have to have this willingness where you want that, when you actually want that. Like every time you were like, this is a pattern, I'm like, fuck yes. Like a part of me was like so happy about it. Like for example, the patterns that we identified around all of the short-term energy. And that never clicked for me until you tied it in together with like the way that I was actually operating so many areas, because I would bring various things to you and you're like, well, actually, I'm seeing that you're repeating this pattern in like all the things now in your business. And that never clicked. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. That is like such a big thing.
Yeah. And I love this. And this is why, like, for me, I love getting to know my people. And I feel like I felt our intimacy from the moment we started. There like was no gap. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
feel like, oh my God, I need to get to know her. Da da da. Like, it really felt instant for me.
Yeah. Same.
Like on the physical plane, yes, I had to get to know the things, but just vibrationally, it was like, okay, boom. And I feel like you came in with that level of openness too, that also allowed me to support you so quickly, because I feel like we were already on patterns. Okay, so had your first 100K month and our second month together, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We were already on patterns by like, I want to say in our first 3 weeks.
Yeah. And that's like,
Is that
that's so
right?
fun. Yeah, absolutely. And like, I guess when you like think of that timeline, like, yes, but it was because I was vulnerably
You really
bringing
were.
to you everything that was coming up that was actually like truly uncomfortable. And like, yeah, like you were really able to see like, well, wait, you've said this before and you've said that before and you've said this now. Like, this is a pattern. This is a thing that I can see. And maybe it was like a small thing, or like someone might have thought it was a small thing, but it was actually such a huge, to me, like a huge chess piece in like really breaking through to that next level.
And it just like totally turned me on because I'm so good at that. But it's like the client has to show up for that, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this. And so, what would you say it was like basically? Or, I know you've been mentored a lot. We all have. But what's been special for you about this experience that also made you want to come, join Fempire for another 6 months? Because basically, you were all in and invested for 9 months together, which was the longest single commitment that you had made. And like, so for anyone who's unclear, so Milana was working with me privately for 3 months and then decided to also continue inside of Fempire.
Yeah. So I think like one, it was just like I always felt so supported, even though like I didn't need a lot from you in terms of like I didn't need you to be in Voxer like 10,000 times for me to like work through something. Like I said, like I would come to you, you would give me this like answer, and most of the times that was enough. Sometimes like we went deeper. it was like, I always knew that if there was more that I needed, like you would be there in a flash. Like there was just this level of support that I felt energetically, like you really fucking cared. Like there's just this depth that I don't know if people know how much you actually care about your clients, and the way that like every time that I would listen to like your Voxer messages, there was never this like rush energy of like, let me just like quickly answer you and move on. Like I could really feel your presence in that, and like you were there in your presence really answering. And you probably have like a billion other fucking clients and people like other Voxer messages, but it never felt like you were just getting it out of the way. And that was like one thing that, I mean, it is different from some other mentors that I've worked with. And like, it's not a thing that I don't think people do intentionally, but like, I think your frequency is rooted in so much ease and flow that like, you're not going to create difficulty around like answering your clients and things like that. Like, that's just not an option for you. And like, that just translates to how you coached. And then like, just the way that like you lead your life, the way that you lead your business. And I was like kind of like in this moment with you where you were experiencing this massive growth. And it was just like so amazing to be part of that, to see how you were growing and how you were showing up, and just to see you behind the scenes and the way you thought of things. And I think it's like the core thing for me is that the way that you want to lead your business entirely aligns with how I want to lead my business. And not so much in the sense that like we have the same business model, but in the sense that like the frequencies that you want to be anchored into is the frequencies that I want to be anchored into. And so I'm like, it just makes sense that I stay and that like we deepen this, because even though like we did patterns in like a few weeks and we did so much, I know that like there is so much more richness to be unearthed when I'm actually in there for longer, right? And so like I'm part of this experience was like really allowing myself to be seen and really allowing myself to be show myself vulnerably, and to like actually have someone that will see the good and the bad and allow that to be okay. And I just felt so at home that like, it was like, of course it makes sense that this just is like a long-term thing.
I love that. And it's so important to me too. And I think when you've had like an emotional background of, I don't know how you felt in these ways, like prior to in your life, but for me, like I was saying on Instagram the other day in my stories, I'm like, connection's the beat of my heart. Like it really is. Like I'm very no bullshit. I'm like, don't test me. I have strong boundaries. I have strong standards. Like if you're going to come place close in my world, rise to the occasion, all the things. But legit within that, right? So it's like, cool, you're here. Like within that, it's like connection is the beat of my heart. And I just feel like so much of like the joy that I've created in my life has come through the joy of these relationships. Like I really view my business as like the women in my close proximity, like these are deep relationships. This isn't like a transactional, like I'm the mentor, you're the client. Let me just answer this quick question and move on. And I feel like sometimes people don't even slow down enough to catch that, like, that's what we're doing here. And so when you share what you just shared, that feels so important to me, because I remember when you were like, you showed on your Instagram, you're like, I paid her the price of what I would have paid to buy a car, And it's true. I don't think about it all the time. We're just used to moving so much money. You're just like, yeah, I mean, it's so required. You don't even think about it, but it's real. And so then for someone to like not even show up for you, to leave like a thoughtful, present message, I'm like, are you kidding me? But at the same time, I'm not like, I don't feel like this deep sense of like servitude and like, do you know what I mean? Obligation and all this stuff. Like my frequency is very much like, it's an honor to be in my field. I'm so fucking here for it. I'm here with you. I love you, like celebrating you. I'm like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm in such deep gratitude, but also I do feel like it's a privilege to be in my world. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. It felt very light.
It's like
Like I
both
didn't feel like,
together, just so
yeah,
for
there
other
was,
people to understand the feeling.
I think, yeah, like I really want to like add to that is like what felt really light is, and I kind of talk about this sometimes in like my Instagram, is that I didn't feel a pressure from you to create a certain result or like to have 100K month so you could be validated through me having this, so you could be
Ooh.
validated as a coach.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that was so good.
Right. And like, and that was also what felt safe about being
Wow.
in that container, is that there was no expectation from you for me to do anything other than just receive the mentorship. Like you were going to go wherever I was going to lead. And so I felt safe to expand because I didn't feel subconsciously, of course, this would never happen consciously, but subconsciously, there was no feeling of like, I have to please you. I have to get a result. I have to do something so that you would be validated in any kind of way. And like you never showed up with any kind of energy of expectation or anything. Like you never, there was no. And again, it's so hard to explain this nuanced because it's never conscious and no one says that. Like I have an expectation of you to do this, but like subconsciously sometimes you feel with people when you coach that they're not rooted enough in their own sense of self, that they actually start to project on their clients this need to create a result so they
Yeah.
can be validated. And that was
You
never the case.
like you perform so I look good. Conditional
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's
like it
wild.
felt
That's
very
a thing
close.
though, especially like with your, because business coaches, right? We share about our money, we share about the things. And this is probably one of the greatest compliments I've ever received, because I do not tie what I receive in my business to any individual client. Like, obviously, that is not healthy to be like expecting certain clients to get us where we want to go. And thank you for saying that, because I would never want, like, I don't think, and you know, genuinely behind the scenes, since we're talking about it, it's like, I don't feel that way. I'm just like, for me, the results that I create in my business are, they are obvious and standard, and it's just how I roll, because that's my standard. And also it's, for me, it's like, that's who I am. And then it's, so for me, I view my clients as women who want to walk alongside me and do it their way. And that's it. And I also feel like, because there's not that pressure there, it allows so many of my clients to receive such potent results, because I'm not needing them to perform in order for me to look good. They just
Yeah.
they just receive what they were always here to receive, and they come in on a soul, including you, obviously, like such a deep soul line connection, that it's like this, holy fuck, you were meant to be here. We were both meant to be here. We were meant to be in this lifetime together on this timeline right now. We're going to collapse to the next one together. Like, that's how it feels to me. It's like walking side by side. It feels like a relationship. You don't get married to create results. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes. Like, yes, that's such a good analogy. Yeah.
It's like I'm always bringing it back to romance, because I don't know what else to connect it to, because who other than your romantic partner has this deep of a view? And of course, like our best friends, etc. But even your best friends don't tend to be as inside of all aspects of your life. So, like, to me, those relationships still feel different than my mentorship, because my mentors hear all of it,
Yeah.
you know?
100%.
And I feel like my friends, I don't bring them into my business stuff, because why would I? Like, not really, you know, for me at least.
No, same.
Because I don't want I'm like, I'm in my business enough. My friendships, I'm like, they're kind of, they feel separate, you know?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And the analogy of a romantic relationship is 100% true. Like if there's this energy of expectation, it's not going to, of course, it's not going to feel like a true partnership. Of course, it's not going to feel light and easy and safe for both people, because there's always this undercurrent of like you having to do something or perform or anything like that. So you could feel loved or you could feel validated. And you have such an amazing way of being with your clients that like, and I've seen you like also, you know, coaching other people in the mastermind, and like that's never you're never ever coming from that energy. It's just so clean. So like, I'm just here for you, and like, you get to walk your own path, and I'm going to walk alongside you, and you get to receive what you came here to receive. And like, you see the highest potential in all of us, and you hold us to that standard. So if like there is any bullshit, you're like, yeah, no, this isn't what I see for you. Like, we're not going there. And I love that, because you're not just there like, yeah, everything's good. Like, you're like, no, this is not the vibe. And you do it from the highest place of love. And it's just like, it's such a vibe and such an honor to be in your world.
Oh, I love you so much. Thank you. And it's women like you who just make my business. I'm like, how could I not? Like, when people are like, how do you show up? How do you do this? How do you do that? And it's like, and then I think about people like you who are here, who I would never have met otherwise. It's like, literally, how could I not? And it just feels like that simple. And I would love to hear, because you chose to invest in Fempire, which I'm so excited about, because you just bring so much, for this first half of the year. What has Fempire been like for you? Because I'm just obsessed with Fempire. I'm just like, hold on, oh my God, I remember I don't remember what was happening. We were having some conversation on a Friday in Fempire, and I was cracking up because I had signed off, and then I looked in the Voxer chat later, and you left the funniest message, and you're like, I feel bad for the people who are not in Fempire.
I remember that.
And I like died. It was so funny.
So true. I actually like, I specifically signed on for Fempire because, well, one, I got to be a part of it as part of our like private.
Yeah.
But I love the group energy. I love the mastermind energy. I actually love being able to like be plugged into other people as well as you in this like super intimate space. And like Fempire is just like such a high frequency. Like the level of questions and the level of like conversations going down, it's so high fucking level that like you could not be bored in that conversation. Like, you can't be bored in that chat in any way. You're not like, oh, like this is like something I've heard a million times. Like, it's so high level, the way that you show up in there, the women that come into there, it just like, it feels like a really high frequency space. And like, I've just been expanded so much, even from like some of the random voice messages that I would like click play on and listen from like other people. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know I needed to hear this today. I didn't even know that like I needed an answer to this question. And like, there would be things that like I would work through just because you were coaching someone else on it. And that feels like such a gift to be able to be in a space like that. And so like, it was, yeah, like, of course I was like, yeah, I really want to be in here for longer. But I love Fempire, and I was so excited. I just got added in today, and I was like so excited to be back in. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to plug into all the things. And yeah, I agree. Like, I feel bad for anyone that's not in there, because like some of the conversations that go down, like, you don't even know you need to have them until they happen. And you're like, I'm just on a new frequency by listening into this conversation now. And again, I don't think people like, they don't get it until they get it. And you sometimes don't get it until you plug in to the container. And that's like the best way that I can say it, because when you're like seeing someone's marketing and they're like, oh, Fempire, and like it's a mastermind, and there's like Voxer, it feels so distant, but like that can never describe the depth of what it is, because it's not just Voxer, it's not just, oh, this group, it's like, it's an entire frequency, it's a standard that you hold for the group, it's a way that people show up in there, it's a way you show up in there, and it's just like, once you're in it, you're like, oh, you get it. So that's how I feel.
I'm so passionate about it. I can't even tell you. So thank you. And I love having you there. And I also just feel like, for me, it's not just like, oh, come into my world, come into my space. Like, yes, but it really feels like, because those are the places you've been, it's a Private and Fempire. It's like every woman who is a yes for that space feels like she's contributing to the frequency, like in a way that really turns me on also, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with it. So I love this. And what did I want to ask you? Oh, yeah. So if you look at in our time together so far, kind of like the biggest shifts that have been made. I know we talked about like patterning, especially like short-term, patterns that were playing out, for example, with money or doing short-term. It's so funny because I know that something I chatted with you about was like, I was like, everyone I've seen who does all of these short-term mentorship investments without having anything long-term in the background always has short-term money tied to it. It's so wild. It's like not something people want to look at. I'm like, your coach hopping is literally impacting your bank account.
Yep.
And not to say stay with someone who's not aligned, but it's like someone will find someone who's aligned and then, for example, think that like they need to go hire their mentor because that must be a golden ticket. Do you know what I'm saying? Or like they'll be like, I fucking feel her. I'm all in. Oh my God, she worked with so-and-so. I must need to hire so-and-so. Meanwhile, you don't even know her experience with so-and-so. You don't even know if you have heart alignment with so-and-so. You don't know what she was going to so-and-so about. And she may have already worked through 6,000 things that you're already working through, and you going to so-and-so, you're going to be like, wait, what? This isn't what I need. Do you know what I mean? How like people do that, or they hire the person's client, thinking it's a cheaper version of the same thing. I'm like, we gotta I've never done this, but a lot of people on the internet do this. I have come to find out. And like, we have got to do better if you actually want results.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just find that so wild. Like, that's never something that I like.
You've
I
had
could
mentors
even,
who make more money than I do.
yeah, but like
Like, it's not
I've never
about
looked at the
that.
money. Like, I just think that if that's what you're looking at to hire someone for, like, you're gonna have a really rude awakening very fast.
Very
And
rude, very
you'll be that
fast.
person in a fucking Reddit thread being like, I was scammed and everything sucks because you didn't actually hire the person that was right for you.
Can
And
you please talk about this? Because I saw you share this on social media, and this is so important. You've shared so many things on social media. Milana, when you came into our own, I started watching your stories. I was like, this bitch.
Yeah, I know
Like,
what post you're talking
screenshot
about.
what she said.
I know what you're talking about. That was like I was talking about the fact that like it is not about, and I just refuse to hire people based on how much money they're making, like what their bank account is or how much like their monthly income is, even though to an extent, like, yes, that is relevant. For example, if I'm trying to anchor into like 6-figure months, like it doesn't make sense to hire a business coach that's at the 2K month mark. They're just starting. Like, no, because like, of course they haven't anchored into what I want to anchor into, but like, I don't look at the exact figures. So if someone's in the vicinity of where I want to be, and if it was like non-business coaching, then even less relevant. Like, I literally don't care how much money they're making. But like, that is just not the thing that I'm going to be guided by. And I'm not going to be guided by like how much their clients are making. Like, I'm not going to go, oh, they helped this person do 100K. So now I'm going to go and hope that that happens for me. Like, I see people do that as well. And I'm like, you're literally going in for the wrong reasons, because you might not even have like a soul connection with the person that you're hiring. And like, what I'm guided by and what I think people really need to like check that they're actually being guided by is there is like a connection. You actually have a soul resonance with this mentor, them, not their mentor's mentor that you're now like hoping to get a cheaper version of, or
They're like
whatever
a
it
pit
is.
stop till you get there.
Yeah, like, oh, I will just hire this person until I can afford that thing. Like, that's so crazy. And that is like such settling energy. Like, is that what you want for your life? Is that what you want for your business? Like, is that how you want your clients to hire you? And if you don't, then like, why are you entertaining that? Because that's not going to serve you. And so
Or go ahead.
Yeah, like it's just like, I just feel like this is probably, and this is something on us as mentees to take on, like not on the coach. Cause like if the coach is being clear in like who they are, what they're providing, like we have to use discernment when we're investing in like, am I doing this for the right reasons? Because another thing that I never invested with you for was like, I need to get a certain result. It was like, here's what I want to anchor in, but there was never an expectation of like, this better happen.
Like,
And there
you
was
need to
never,
take me there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or like you have to tell me how. Or like I wasn't like looking at the freaking like dates every day, like, oh, there's another 26 days to go in this container, and like I'm still not there yet, or whatever it is. Like that wasn't the thing. I was like, it's not about me getting a certain number. It's about me anchoring into a frequency. And if I'm in that frequency, the number will come. And if it doesn't come now, it doesn't fucking matter, because like it will come. And so like, I'm not here with this expectation on you to do anything or create something or like validate me through me making certain numbers. Like it's just, there's just so much dilution in mentorship that like, we need to clean up. We need to clean up as the
Like,
people
as the
invest.
client.
Yeah, as the client. Like when you're investing, if you can clean up your part, I guarantee that it's going to feel so much better and lighter and cleaner. You're going to get the results faster than if you're coming in with like just a lot of like things that are diluting and polluting the energy field.
It's so true. And I love this. And I never felt that off of you. And I will say at this point in my business, my clients are just fucking amazing. Literally from early entrepreneur containers where someone has never made $1 in their business all the way up through ready to have 6-figure months. Like what people bring to me now and the respect that they have and the openness, like I'm just fucking floored. I am literally floored. And that's what keeps me available for supporting people at all seasons, because the women who come to me are just like, they're actually here for the soul connection and to learn how I do things and how I think about things. And I have clients who have businesses that look nothing like mine. Like I would not say that most of my clients, even the structure of their business, it's not about like, we need to have the same structure of business in order to get there. I'm like, the structure of business is the easiest thing for me to see. Like this is not mentorship. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if you're a business coach, you sure as shit better be able to coach a number of people with different types of businesses. I'm good at business. This was never the thing. Do you know, I've been doing that from like way before this business in terms of like my sales and marketing experience, etc. And also it's just my brain. Like that's just what I'm good at. So it's like, even just like, oh, she has the structure of business I want to have. I should hire. I'm like, really? Is that what you're going to hire someone for? That's it? Are you kidding me?
Yes. Oh, that's
Like
such a good point.
literally, I could give you options for structuring your business in an email. To be
Yeah.
really honest, like that's so easy for me to do. That is like a drop in the bucket. Like come in for more, because that more is what gets you the results, because it's like you're here for the depth and also you're here for the evolution of, yes, of your business. I do not want anyone to think that like we are focused on your business. We are growing your business. That I'm very much with the feminine plus the masculine, the strategy plus the energetics. But it's like you better come in to evolve your human if you actually want like these big results.
100%. 100%. And with the mentor that's like aligned to you,
And that's
because
what I
you feel
mean.
the connection.
And usually, if you're actually open to evolving your soul, right? Like you're actually open to the mentor because you're not coming in exclusively on results, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, also,
Yeah.
I'm a money coach. I talk about results all the time. I talk about my client results all the time. I share which containers are for which people based on income level. Like I talk about money all the time. I'm here for it. We're going to do that. But it's not about not wanting that. It's about the frequency that you come in on. Does that make sense as a differentiating
Yeah.
point?
Yeah, I feel like if you tie it back to relationships, it's like you want your partner, like I want my husband to like do things for me, but I don't expect him to. I'm not coming in being like, you better do this. It's like, I want it. I still want it, but like I want him to just like do it on his own. And like with the mentorship, it's like, I want to have 100K months, but I'm not expecting you to create magic. And so like, I know that you're going to lead me in the right directions, in the frequencies, in the conversations that need to be had, in looking at any of the strategies that are not working or whatever it is. But like, I'm not expecting it. And so the partnership gets to work because it's a light energy to be in.
Totally. And that's just a frequency. And then inside mentorship, we actually do get to ask about the business. We do get to ask about the strategy. We do ask about the energetics. We do ask all the questions. We go there. I go there for myself, but it's just the frequency we come in on. And it's like, it almost feels like, and this is something you've been so good at from day one, it's just like this settled energy. And you know how I love to talk about relaxed money on the internet?
Yeah.
Relaxed money is my fucking vibe. Like you came in with a settled energy so that we could anchor you into, and you know, obviously like that's where you are. Everybody's not quite as settled as you are. And that's not my expectation, but you came in open to and so, you know, I don't want anyone to think, for example, my clients who are hearing this or future clients who are hearing this. So like, you need to be exactly like Milana. No one's all the same, but it's like this openness to, you know what, I am willing to do this and receive in a relaxed way, like legit.
Yeah.
Not like I say I want to receive in a relaxed way. And then every 5 minutes I'm plugging in with like emotional drama.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But I'm going to bring forward things that are important. And I see myself, I keep going to this place emotionally. Yep. We're definitely going to bring that up because I see I keep doing that. But it's like, we can feel the emotional dramas, but it's about having the self-awareness to bring to mentorship. Like, yep, here's an emotional drama. I'd like to work through this. Versus coming with emotional dramas, not even realizing they're emotional dramas. Like for me, that's how I feel. Like if I feel an emotional drama, like I can name it and I'm like, we got to move through this. And I feel like that's very different than someone who can't even name it as that. And you were always just so good at being like, I'm feeling this and I know it's like BS, but I need help with moving through it.
Yeah. And I think like, I don't want to give the impression that I was just like, oh, just like chilling. Like I didn't have anything to move through. It was just like all like butterflies and rainbows, right? Like there was things that were like, this is really uncomfortable. This is like just bullshit. Like something's coming up, or like things that would, you know, I don't know, dysregulate me. But like I was always willing to actually look at them. I was willing to one, sit with it myself, and then two, bring it to you and be like, I know that I'm not seeing this, how like in my most empowered way, like help me to see it differently, essentially. And so like, it's never like, oh, you just can't have anything wrong in your life or like in your business.
It's insane. That's not real.
Yeah, like that's crazy. And that's like, what's the point of mentorship? But it's like,
it's also toxic. That's not how we are as humans.
Yeah. And that's
I've been through a lot, you know?
Yeah, like full gaslighting in a way. And like, it was never about emotional bypassing. It was like, bring it, but bring it in a state of awareness. Like I realize this isn't helping me and I'm willing to shift it. And maybe like, you know, sometimes I would shift immediately. Sometimes it would be like a few days or like even a week or longer where like I had to sit with something and like had to just let it to really like get into my energetic frequency and to resolve itself. And that's fine. But like there was never an expectation that it had to happen immediately. Like I was always just willing to receive it and allow it to stay there and even sit with the emotion until it would resolve itself.
Yeah. And I just want to continue to honor you for the level of self-leadership that you bring, while also understanding that self-leadership isn't about closing off or not sharing.
100%.
You know, like I think that people are like, okay, now I don't want to ask her a question. Now I don't want to make sure I'm asking a low level question. I want to make sure I'm not asking a low level question. I'm like, well, you don't put a filter on yourself. It's like, hear what we say, trust that it's landing through osmosis, and keep going.
Yeah. And I never filtered myself in like, oh, I hope this is not a low level question for Jocelyn. It was like, well, like, I'm sure that most of the things I bring to you are so obvious for you. And for me, they're not. And this is why I'm here. So like, I never had this from me or from you, this expectation that it had to be high level. And I guess I refer to high level because that's just naturally what happens in your world. But there is no like, I don't know, rule book that's like, these are low level questions and you're not allowed to ask this. like there's never that filter. It's just, I think like the self-awareness that you bring into coaching and that people experience through being in your world just naturally questions filtering that are more I guess like more deep. I don't even want to necessarily say high level, low level, because that implies there's like
That's like, yeah.
dumb questions, but like there is a depth to the conversations and the questions that just goes beyond like, is this offer okay for me to release?
Put on the
like
internet.
it's not like that, and you would never be like, oh, that's dumb question.
No, I
It's
would answer
like
it.
there's something
Yeah.
more to that. There is like, that's not what you're actually asking me. There's something more to this, and so this is what I mean by like high level. There's like a richness to the conversations.
And that's what I desire for everyone to feel in my world, because, this is the Aries is running hot, fast, in charge, yum, yum. But the Scorpio in me is like, we're going. I have like, what do I have? What's going on in my 12th house? It's deep and dark considering my dark night of the soul phases, but it's like, oh my gosh, my astrology is need some dusting up, but I have Scorpio in there. Pluto's also in my 12th house. I've got some like deep stuff, and basically what is the 12th house? Oh my gosh, how is it explained again? But it's basically the house of mysticism and like the spiritual world and all of that stuff, And so I have a lot of depth like in my chart there, and it's not surprising considering how comfortable I am to go into the depths with clients, etc. And so it's like there's these two sides of me where there's like that we're getting results. We know how to look at logic. We know how to move, like zoom, zoom. You want that. We move towards it. We go to Rome directly, like boom, boom, boom. And there's also like, for me, like in my soul, it's like there's got to be this like richness and depth to the experience. Although I also know how to like move fast and just get from point A to point B as a quote unquote, fast thinking, logical person would, but also hold the energetic and emotional depth that's required to do that and actually have that with ease. Does that make sense? That's how I feel about it for myself.
Yeah, 100% how I felt as well in your world and how I feel.
But it's like, but if something tests me, I'm in my like full force fire, like we're getting right here. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know when to turn which piece on.
Yeah.
And when to bring both. Or that's like my lived experience of my own energy, which I'm sure obviously my own energy is also what I'm bringing to my clients.
Yeah, definitely feel that 100%.
Oh my gosh, Milana, this has been, I feel like we just touched on like 6,000 things that like the whole internet needs to hear.
I agree. I agree. I'm like, this should be like a course.
I know, literally. I had no idea we were going in all these places. I love this.
No, there was we had no agenda for the call. It was like, we'll just vibe out and see where the conversation takes us.
Okay, so last question before like my last questions. So what do you feel like in our experience? Because it was literally like you just came in and you catapulted. I mean, you said your standard was like, cruising around the 30K month, et cetera, mark. And then you had 2 back-to-back 100K sales month. Those are not fucking flukes. So what do you feel like about our connection or the mentorship or being in my world or whatever it was allowed you just to open up to this like limitless frequency, and not only the frequency, but to just like land it in your 3D reality?
Yeah, so definitely I'm like, where do I start? There's so much. And like, I definitely felt that like anchoring in the second 100K month was like this like stacking of evidence for me. Like that wasn't a fluke. That wasn't an accident. Like this, like what just happened. And I think like what was like the kind of key pieces that led is, one, I was able to really plug into way more ease around money in particular than I really ever had in my life, and really like sit with myself and look at things of how I was moving money, how I was interacting with money, and rise to the frequency of where I wanted to operate at. And for example, just even the smaller things like, backing myself to invest in myself for longer and not playing this like short-term energy of like short-term containers, and just being like, and then when I decided to invest, I had, like, with you to extend, I hadn't had 100K month. Like, it was before all of that.
No, you hadn't even had time to have any results yet.
No. So it wasn't like I was like waiting for this result and then I was like, now I'll make a move, which is like, I feel like I would have done that a lot in my life, where I'm waiting for external validation and then I'm going to move based on that. But it was like, I know I need to move, and like, I just trust myself to move, and I'm not even moving so I can have a result, just so I can be this person. And so that was one thing. Another thing that like really catapulted, and like, this is probably the biggest thing for me personally, is that I really felt like I was collapsing time just being in a mentorship with you, because like the fact that I could bring something to you that I knew if I wasn't being mentored, this would like be in my energetic field for weeks, maybe months, and I would like overthink it and go back and forth on it, and it would take up so much space in my energy, like trying to resolve it, and like whatever it was, like this, whatever thing that came up, I know that I would like overthink it and just like spend so much time on it on my own, versus with you, I could bring it into Voxer and be like, this is coming up, and we would shift it within a few messages, within like days. And so that felt like time collapsing, because now I'm like literally collapsing time to be on this frequency over and over and over again all the time. And so I'm no longer like wasting mental capacity and space, like overthinking these things, because they're done, they're resolved, they feel good, they feel solid, and I can like move on. And I was really able to like, from that, anchor into like more stability into just how I showed up, like how I ran my business, more stability in just my energetic state, and just like back myself even more with like the things that I was putting out, the things that I was selling. And like all of that just like added up to the external, which is like how I was showing up, how I was talking about my offers, how I was creating offers. Like it all just flowed so much easier, because I wasn't wasting time and I wasn't wasting energy, like overthinking things or going back and forth on things. Even the small stuff that I would bring to you, where I'm like, I know this is like probably small, but like it's taking up space, and like I want to clear it. I'm ready to clear it. Like that would have been something that would like slow me down before. And so I didn't feel like I was being slowed down, because I could actually work through things. And so like that was probably like, I would say the biggest thing for me that I really, really leaned into. And that felt like I could just be on this like fast trajectory to like these, like 6-figure sales months that I did not see coming. And it wasn't like, it was like, wow, this happened, but also like, oh, of course it happened, because like of everything that I've been doing in the background, but also like, holy shit, it happened at the same time.
Totally. Oh, I love this. And so for you, was it just kind of like that soul resonance? Because, like you spoke to, for example, if you didn't have mentorship, et cetera, but you're always somebody who would, and someone who's actually moving into the 100K month level isn't even playing with the idea of having mentorship or not. They already understand like it's all the time, it's year round. So like, I'm curious what was different for you then, if there was anything where it's like, you were just able to receive so deeply from me to even help you like get to this place so squarely and so quickly. And then also like back to back.
Yeah. Like 100% the soul resonance. The fact that like, even if I was investing and like with other mentors, like it's like someone can say the same thing. And it's not like it's not like you've said something to me that I've never in my entire life ever heard before in any shape or form. And so this is the first time I'm hearing it. And like, it wasn't like that. It was like, there were things that you would say that like I've probably heard before, but I hadn't actually heard them because they weren't coming from you. And like, it was truly that, like, I truly feel like that when you find that mentor who really resonates with your frequency and like you hear them, like when they say something, it clicks, even though you would have heard that concept before. It's like, that's the person you should be working with. And that's how I felt for you. Like, even before we started working together, when I heard you on the podcast, I'm like, oh, she's saying all these things that I've definitely like heard before, because I'm not new to the personal development world.
No,
Like,
you're like very
I've
ignorant.
like
Yeah.
I since I was 17, I've been like balls deep in this. Like,
I love
I like read
it.
all the books, I like watch all the YouTube, like I've been in it, but like it's about like that person that's going to actually shift something when they say it. And so when you say something, I'm like, oh, this just lands. And there's just this level of trust and like safety in being in this container, especially when I reinvested. There was like a whole new level of safety, because I'm like, I don't need to like get anything out of this super fast and make sure that it lands right now. I'm like, there's plenty of time. It felt very settled. And so it was just the fact that like I felt like I'd found the mentor for me. And so it was landing in such a way that it could create shifts so fast. Whereas if it was with someone else that I maybe picked out of logic because they were doing, I don't know, 100K months, and I just only hired them for that, I probably wouldn't have seen the same result.
100%. And I love it because I always say, I'm like, there's no new news. You know what I mean? All these spiritual truths, all the things on the internet, like everything's out there, but it's like, you've got to hear it from your person, your people, so that it can actually land, because otherwise it's just information, and just having access to information is shit. Like, that doesn't matter if you can't integrate anything and actually experience it as an embodied reality.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like people think that like, oh, like someone's going to say something profound and new to me and like that will be the thing. But it's actually like, you're just going to hear something that you probably know on some level, and it's just going to land for you when the person for you says it.
And also, I do feel like, I don't know if you've had the experience where someone says something, I'm like, oh, fuck, yes, you're right. And it's not even like they're saying something that's never been said before on the planet that's impossible, but it's like that moment, them reading into me that was the moment I need to hear it. It's like when it all fucking clicked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
100%.
they were soul aligned.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, I don't want to question anybody's wisdom. Like, I've had such profound mentorship, etc. Also, people do say things that just like fucking drop your socks, you know? But I know what you're talking about, where it's like, you don't even look for that. It's not even like, what high are you taking me to energetically? It's, to me, this feeling I've had that I feel like you're describing too, where it is for you, which is just like, it's like, this is home. Like what we talk about. You're like, yep, got it. It's like soul sees soul. We're actually here legitimately to walk these timelines together. Like, for real. Like, we signed up for this. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah, I just got goosebumps as you were saying that. I like 100% resonate with that. 100%. And I think like as long as we keep looking outside of that to make decisions around mentorship, we're going to be disappointed, because like there is people that we need in different seasons of our life. And so that's fine. And there's people we go to for different things. But when you're looking for that mentor that's like home, like that settled energy, like I just want to like actually be in this space long term, like settled, feel safe, feel at home. Like, this is a guiding frequency that at least I make my decisions on. And that was the whole difference for me, because I'd obviously worked with other people before, and like, of course, I got tons out of it. Like, I would never say that I didn't. Every single container that I've been in, I've received so much, because I'm always willing to receive so much. But I don't think I've ever found a mentor that was as like aligned to me just naturally as you. And so that was like, yeah, that was just like a soul thing. Like, you just know, like, you know, when you meet the one, you just know. Like, when I met my husband, I just knew. I'm like, I know that like we're meant to be together, even if I'm gonna make it hard for you, but like we're meant to be together. And like we got engaged like really fast, like within a year. And it was just like, you just know. And like before that, if people say to you like, well, when you know, you're like, what fucking bullshit. But like that's how it feels like for mentorship. And I think the reason why people don't experience that is because they don't actually take the leap when they know. They go into overthinking, like what we talked about before. They go into logic of like, oh, I'm feeling pulled to this person, but like, nah, it's probably not that. And like, oh, I need to wait for this, and oh, I need to wait for that, versus just leaping all in and actually just taking the step forward and making it happen. And like you're never going to regret that.
Never. In a way, it's like these are the most important relations, those soul connections. These are the most important relationships of our lives. You better fucking move.
Yeah, like otherwise you miss out on that. And like I said before, if I didn't move, I would not be here. I truly don't think I would be here saying I've just done 2 back-to-back 100K months. And like, I'm sure that would have happened no matter what at some point in my business, but it might have not. And maybe it would have happened even now, but maybe it wouldn't have been in the way that I want it, which is like, the thing is it happened, but it wasn't, I didn't hustle for it. I didn't work like my ass off for it. It didn't feel hard. I wasn't an emotional mess. Like I wasn't breaking down. It actually felt so stable, so grounded, so good, so fun, so easeful. And of course I put in the work, like I did my fucking part, but even putting in that work didn't feel like work. It didn't feel like I was doing something that I didn't want to do. It was like every day was like pure joy. Even the moments that were hard was like, I'm still like, I'd still rather this than anything else. And like, that's also a big thing for me, is that like the results that I'm seeing in my business with you are from a place that's fully aligned. Like, it's not like you gave me some strategies, like, I don't know, cold message 3,000
Oh
people. And then
my
now I've had like
God.
100K month, like, fuck that. That's not the vibe. So like, it's, you might see the results that you want with someone, but like, is it aligned? Because like, to me, that's not worth it. Like, I'd rather not have it. Like, you can take it back. I'd want it the way that I want it.
The ends.
Exactly.
I totally get it. And I love this. And I will say, like, I'm going to give you so much credit for like just your full truth. You know, like you really did do this with ease. I watched you do this with ease. It wasn't ease on the internet. And then on behind the scenes, everything is a meltdown. Like you really anchored it for real.
Yeah.
And we're allowed
And
to
the
have
second one
meltdowns.
even more. Yeah,
But
we're
there's a
allowed to
difference
have
between, we
meltdowns.
are totally allowed to have meltdowns, but there's a difference between having a meltdown as like your standard MO is a meltdown versus like, whoa, something really hit me. And then everything else is like, how do you see this? How would I think about this? Da-da-da-da, like normal stuff. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like you are in deep integrity with what you say on the internet. Like you are for real.
Thank you. That means so much coming from you, because you know, you know.
It's important though. People don't think about this piece. One of my mentors said it to me about me today too. And I was like, and I'd heard it earlier and I was like, wait, what? I remember when I was at like 50K months, I had a mentor and she was like, Jocelyn, you have no idea how many clients I have where they're like making money on the internet and behind the scenes, they want to die. And I was like, wait, what? Like I always ran off ease forever from day one. This isn't something I had to learn to decide to anchor. Like, and when she said that to me when I was at 50K months, because to me that felt very early, you know? And I was like, what? No, I've never wanted to burn my business down. This has never been dramatic. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't get it. And then,
Yeah.
and now I've met, like, seen enough behind the scenes for different people. And I'm not saying it's all their fault. It's not like, if you want to burn your business down, that's okay. Like, let's get to a place of alignment. I'm not saying don't keep shit for the sake of keeping shit. You're not a martyr. But I'm saying, like, let's hold ourselves to a higher standards of like a higher standard of what we're actually available for and stop doing shit that we don't actually want to do. And you end up in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you always have the power to shift it. So if you're not shifting it, you're kind of choosing it in a way.
Right. And then
And
you want to kill it
yeah.
versus if you show up based off your desires, if you show up open to evolution is so real. Evolution is going to happen every stage of the game. Then things are moving with your energy and nothing's happening opposing your energy. Do you know what I mean? And so then you end up loving everything.
So big. Oh my God.
And it's huge. And I just feel like we're very similar in that way where you're like, you are just not going to do something that makes you want to die for a potential end result. Like that just makes, like, for your energy body, it's like absolutely not. It doesn't actually even make logical sense.
Yeah, like 100% not available for it. So like, it's like there has to be another way, and that's the only way that I'm available for.
And I love it because then there's this funny thing where it's like, you're not arguing, not that any of my clients are doing this, but I could definitely see how people would do this, where it's like, you aren't arguing with me how I'm helping you step into ease by like arguing for your limitation, why it needs to be hard. Do you know what I mean? How people will do
Right.
that?
Yeah. 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 Oh my God. That's so big. Yeah. I so agree. Like, yeah. I think like such a big piece of it is trust. Like, I trust you when you say it gets to be easier, like there is an easier way, versus being like, no, you're lying. Like, actually, like, this is how I've always done it. This is how I see it. I can't see another way. And I need to like continue this and like mutter myself. And I think people of course do this very unconsciously. It's, you know, most of this stuff, it's never conscious. We're
Oh,
never
it's all
like,
unconscious, pretty
yeah,
much. Yeah.
exactly. But I think if you can become conscious of it, that's big. And if you can build this level of trust with your mentor, because I really think that is like a cornerstone and probably a reason why a lot of the times we fall into these patterns, or we let ourselves fall into these patterns, because we don't build the trust to trust that when someone's telling us something, that is how it is.
Yeah. I mean, I have trust with my mentors, but you're right. If we don't, yeah, you have to come. It's like, if you're putting that money down, girl, just open yourself to trust.
Yeah.
Cause that's how I come in, just ready, open, and knowing sky's the limit. We're going there, just period. And that's just what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
So good. Milana, it has been such a deep pleasure to have you. I'm obsessed with you, obviously. Look, we just had how long have we been recording? Almost 2 hours.
Oh my God, I can't even. So good. This is like a masterclass, like a double
I mean,
masterclass.
this should have been paid, honestly.
We didn't think this through.
Didn't think it through. Oh my gosh. Well, is there anything else you would have to say to someone who's considering jumping into my world in any capacity or coming to play?
I would just like, and truly from the bottom of my heart, I mean this, is like, you're not going to regret taking the leap. And the best thing you can do for yourself is to back yourself to take that leap. And if you're feeling pulled towards Jocelyn, like, there is a reason, there is such a reason, and like I would trust that reason, like whether it's Fempire, Private, like I don't even know what all the offers you have, but like there is such a deep level of support and love and genuine care on the other side that like if you've never been in her world, you won't even know exists, and you're going to just be like so taken care of. And like I said, also just being this like very clean energy of like you're loved and taken care of, but like there is no weird ulterior motive and expectation or anything like that. Like, and you just get to also see someone that leads by example. Like you see Jocelyn's boundaries and you see how she leads, and you see the way like there is so much congruency with what like she talks about in like her social media with like how she leads a container, you know. So she's not like, oh, I have these boundaries, but then actually behind the scenes she doesn't. And I fucking love that. I love seeing that. I love seeing the boundaries. I love seeing the way that you lead. And I love how like it's such a perfect blend. And like just like having access to Jocelyn's brain, like, oh my God, you guys, you better get in while her prices are what they are. That's all I would say. Like, honestly, because they're going to probably be like a bajillion times higher by the end of the year. So
I mean, honestly, it's
am
the
I allowed to
truth.
say that? That's what I'm thinking.
It is the truth. Oh my gosh. I love you, Milana. And so obviously, good God, get in Milana's world. So can you please tell us where to find you, what the vibe is, how you would like for people to get in touch with you, anything that's going on in your world that you want to share.
So you can find me on Instagram at Milana Sarenac. That's mostly where I am. I do have a podcast that is reviving soon, so you can always go and check that out, which is Magnetic with Milana Sarenac. We're bringing some brand fresh new episodes in a couple of weeks, so that's exciting. Well, actually
Yay.
depends on when this will be released. This might be, it might be like ready at the time, but mainly on Instagram. And yeah, if you've listened to this, if you had takeaways, if like something landed, definitely come say hi, follow, and I'd love to see you in my world.
And Milana's just, you're so good. I'm like obsessed with you. And it's just, I love bringing my clients to the show because I'm also like, I just want to show you other women where it's like, make a fucking move with her too. Because do you know what I mean? Like women I can vouch for.
That's such a compliment. Thank you.
But it's true. It's not just like, oh, hey, how'd you do in my world? It's also like, I'm bringing you here for other people to learn about you too. And it's like, when I bring someone onto the show, isn't just like, oh yeah, she had great results in my world. It's like, I fucking know this human. I can vouch for her. I can vouch for her business. I can vouch for her work. And like, it's legit, you know?
Such a freaking compliment. Thank you.
So thank you so much for being here. I love you. And I'm so excited to do 2023 with you.
Me too. I love you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been such an honor.
Yay.